Yo, what's up? Bringing you that MLB The Show 16. We got some Diamond Dynasty action in the background, but we're going to be talking more about MLB The Show 17 and Road to the Show. So I've kind of been slacking on making this video, but everything you need to know will be here. So first off, this will be a huge transitional year for Road to the Show, as they are adding what they call Pave Your Path, and that is basically you making choices on and off the field that will impact the scope of your career. I'll talk more into detail about that later. So first off, creating your player is the same as far as the small skill tree on what you want to focus on as a player, and that is power, contact, speed, and fielding. Then you go on to pick your position, secondary position, and all of that stuff is the same. Now for player customization, there has been a lot added. So there's 49 new head shapes, 35 new hairstyles, and 22 new facial hairstyles, which all of this definitely needed to be updated. You also have more customization in how you want your player to look body-wise. In addition to that, there is now home run celebrations that you can choose from. So you can choose your own batting stance and then a celebration package, I guess you would say, of a player. And that will show when you hit a home run or get a base hit, I believe. Bauman Scout Day, still in the game, still seems the same. You go through hitting and fielding. And then if you wish to play in the exhibition game to raise your draft stock, you can, but you don't have to play in that game. So now you do have to go through the draft. In previous MLB games, you could skip the draft, or not skip the draft, but you could pick what team you wanted to play for beforehand. But now you have to go through the draft. If you do sit out the year, you do get a very small amount of training points that you can put towards your player. But another example that may be presented to you during your career, and I think this is most likely in AA or AAA, the GM might come to you to request for you to change your position, or more of like a position trial. So you can choose to accept that change or decline, but declining may result in you getting benched. So as you can see, your choices should actually matter, and they can impact your role on the team and even playing time. So you're definitely going to want to act positive when you're interacting with your GM. So just for a side example, I guess, if you look at NBA's My Career, their storyline is pretty linear and there's no impact on the choices that you make. Like, you can't lose playing time or get benched. So in MLB, it seems like a lot of the choices that you make will have an impact, and that is something you want when you are making decisions. You want your decisions to actually matter. So another thing is, depending on how well you play, you will eventually get an agent that I think will guide you with interactions, contracts, social media, and all that stuff. So speaking of social media, there is a social media tab that will be in the game where you can interact with players, and fans and players can interact with you. With other interactions, you can get double XP for training points, so that can help build up your player a little bit quicker. And I think that's pretty much it for Road to the Show and the new stuff that you can expect to see. So I know there's questions on year-to-year saves. Like, if you're planning to take your MLB 16 player to MLB 17, what happens with the scenes and interactions? So the scenes and interactions with your GM, agent, or whatever else there is will happen at the point you are in your career. So you still will get them, but if you're not starting from the beginning, the draft, you obviously will not have the same interactions. You won't have the GM calling you after the draft, or maybe even the GM requesting you to change position. But from the point you are and on, you should still see some type of interactions. So if you're on your second or third season in the MLB, you should still see some type of interactions with your GM and maybe even your agent, depending on what he actually does. So another thing related to the year-to-year saves, I've seen people say if you have extra stubs in MLB 16 to create a Road to the Show player and use them to level that player up, then transfer him to MLB 17 when the game comes out. Now, that should work if you do create the player and then not do any of the scouting day stuff. So when you get MLB 17, you'll be right at the scouting day, and then you can go through the draft and all that stuff in MLB 17. The problem with that I see, if you make the player in MLB 16, I'm pretty sure you'll also have the MLB 16 rosters. So keep that in mind if that is something you were planning on doing. For example, like Chris Sale, he won't be on the Boston Red Sox because you made your player in MLB 16 and transferred him over. I'm pretty sure you can't just transfer over your player. It's the whole roster that eventually gets transferred over. So if you want the updated rosters, I would just start from scratch in MLB 17 and experience everything from scratch, from the start. That's what I plan on doing. Additional things related to Road to the Show. There is player quirks in that mode and the same perks and the showtime that was in MLB 16. And you know, everything you earn equipment wise that gives boost, all that stuff is in Road to the Show. But the player quirks you earn based on how you are performing, because there is statistical player quirks that you can get as a player, and that is what you get from the quirks. I don't know exactly what those entail, but player quirks are in Road to the Show along with franchise and Diamond Dynasty and all those games. But that pretty much wraps it up for everything related to Road to the Show. Now, MLB 17 comes out in 3 days, and there's 2 more games I want to show you guys in MLB 16. They're not going to be anything that relates to MLB 17 news, just some Diamond Dynasty games. One of them with a near no-hitter, and the other is my last game that I played on MLB 16. I don't know if I'll have time to show both of those games, but definitely expect one of them to come out in the next couple of days. I'm going to try to bring out both. If I don't, you'll just see my last game. But that pretty much wraps it up for this video. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I'm out.